start recording. And I am recording.
As am I.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. How have you all been?
Good.
I've been good, I guess.
Feels like it's been a year since we all did this.
That joke is
Whoa,
old
it
and you
does.
should feel bad.
Good lord.
That joke
I was
is
debating all day whether or not to do that.
that joke is bad and you should feel bad.
Oh, it makes me feel glorious.
I mean, a little bit better than like ordering a pizza, so that it gets delivered after midnight on the 1st and going, I ordered this last year.
Yeah, but that's just also rude because the poor pizza guy just wants to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a really weird dream last night.
Oh.
I saw on Discord you mentioned that.
You know those dreams where when you wake up, you're like, what the fuck was I on?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this actually requires a little bit of context.
Oh.
So, there's this YouTube channel. I've told Kuda about it before. A YouTuber named Alex Bale. Amateur filmmaker. Mostly does short horror films on YouTube. And over the past year, he's been doing an ARG, alternate reality game.
Yeah.
And it's this big thing where he's kind of criticizing the YouTube algorithm and stuff. And how it got started is through SpongeBob theory videos.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just a few days ago, he uploaded a teaser for his next SpongeBob theory video. And I must have been really hyped about it or something, because last night I had a dream about a SpongeBob episode.
That's
My dream brain just came up with a SpongeBob episode.
was it like an actual episode or was it just your mind making up a story?
Oh, my mind just made up a story. It's really weird.
That is weird. Well, dreams are funny things, though.
Yeah. So, I like the first half of the episode was, I don't remember much about it because it wasn't too relevant. But at some point in the episode, the Krusty Krab had gotten this machine thing kind of similar to a mechanical bull, except my dream had it as more like a roller coaster type thing. And for some reason, SpongeBob and Squidward had gotten on it together. And the whole challenge of it, was to see how long you could stay on and stuff. And SpongeBob decided the best way to do that was to bite down on the seat thing. So it started doing its thing, roller coaster / mechanical bull thing. And Squidward gets thrown off, but SpongeBob manages to stay on the entire time. And because of that, SpongeBob or the machine turns SpongeBob into like this robot. And
What?
it's implied that was the whole point of the machine. And like I specifically remember like it elongated SpongeBob's body and like his mouth was replaced with like machinery and stuff. And all of a sudden, SpongeBob starts somehow turning the other patrons and employees of the Krusty Krab into robots too. And after that, they all start marching on Bikini Bottom, and somehow, through the power of Krabby Patties, start turning the rest of the population of Bikini Bottom into robots.
Okay.
And yet they somehow don't take over the Navy.
Yeah. Anyway, after some time of this, they end up going to SpongeBob's house, with SpongeBob in the lead, of course. And SpongeBob knocks on the door, and all of a sudden I shouldn't say all of a sudden, slowly, this weird thing comes out of the top. It kind of looked like a television, but not really. I don't know what was going on. And before that can even mean anything, a voiceover of SpongeBob comes over, really sadly saying that he still didn't know what happened to his original body, while the screen. You know how sometimes SpongeBob does that thing where there's like a frame that is super realistic and stuff.
Yeah.
It did that on like a hollowed out version of SpongeBob's body. Like there was just this big hole in his body.
The fuck?
It sounds more
Yeah.
and more like a creepypasta.
Yeah, it really does. But the thing is, like, my brain did not frame this as like some lost episode or anything. My brain framed this as just, an episode that just aired normally sometime in the early seasons.
God, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Did you eat any cheese before you went to bed?
I don't remember.
That's fucking weird, man.
And to make it weirder, I don't know how my brain came up, because my brain did come up with a title that had absolutely nothing to do with the events of the episode.
Oh
The
boy.
title of it was Aglet Days.
What?
Okay.
So, if you're not aware, the word aglet is something that a lot of people make fun of in English. It's that little plastic cap that gets put on the ends of strings, most notably shoelaces.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I don't know why the episode was called Aglet Days, but that's just...
It's
what
such an
my
absurd
brain-
name that could easily be a name for an episode, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, for some reason, my brain was convinced that there was some creative portmanteau with aglet and hamburger, and I have no idea what that portmanteau was. But my brain was convinced that there was something really clever. But, like, I just remember, like, watching this in the dream, and my brain was like, why isn't anybody in the SpongeBob community talking about this episode? This is a crazy episode. So yeah, that was my dream last night.
Jesus.
That's a weird dream, man.
Yeah,
So,
I blame Alex Bale.
my dream last night. So I've been getting back into modded Stardew, and something that I'm doing is I'm actually getting kind of decent at editing mods to like solve conflicts and stuff like that, to the point where I'm actually kind of, I would say that I'm creating a mod, but that's giving me a lot more credit than I deserve. Because I'm working with a framework called Better Farm Animal Variety, where it's just super easy once you have like all the graphics and stuff to add new farm animals. So I'm making a BFAV mod, but I'm doing it specifically for villagers, meaning you can go over to Marnie's place and buy a villager to have on your farm. And my dream last night, basically, it didn't give me the idea because I already had the idea to begin with, but it kind of gave me ideas for what to do with them. In particular, just like having them find the items that that particular villager likes, and also like this weird integration with a mod called People Seeds, which unfortunately is closed source.
Oh, no.
So it's like not really possible to update People Seeds, but I figure I could just as easily go through a framework called JSON assets, because Stardew mods are written in JSON.
Yeah.
Because that's like, there are a bunch of new crop mods through JSON assets, and I figure, okay, there's a lot of these. I can piggyback off of the coding of one of them, and basically make a new version of People Seeds, because not only did People Seeds just never work for me, and it's also just completely out of date because the mod author vanished. I will forever maintain that the mod author missed a huge opportunity in not calling the mod NP Seeds. Okay, yes, it's a pun, Giga, but you have to admit, People Seeds is just an objectively inferior name to NP Seeds.
That's actually a really good pun, and I hate puns.
Same. Also,
okay, I love puns, but like I've played Dragon Quest games since I was like in elementary school, so yeah, I of course I love puns.
Sora wants to talk to me on Discord really quick.
And I will be right back because I realized I forgot to do something.
Okay.
And I guess I am now the big voiceover now.
Well,
Giga wants to add something.
Well, I mean, I'm still here. I'm just typing on my phone at Sora.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go to a different voice chat.
No.
I fucking hate this base. Oh, for those who are wondering what I am playing in the background when we talk, I am playing War Commander. It is a free browser-based game. I highly recommend you don't play it because it sucks. But I've been playing it for over 10 years and I can't put it down.
It sucks, but I want to keep playing.
I mean, I put money into it, so I'm going to get my money's worth.
Yeah, fair, I guess.
I mean, I'm to the point where I don't have to. It's called coining, where you don't have to pay money to be good.
I have returned.
Welcome back.
Hello, welcome back. Yeah, going back to what I was saying, I got to the point where I'm good enough at the game where I don't have to put money into it, and but it's still a bad game.
Which game?
War Commander. It's a browser-based game by Kixeye. And Kixeye is a terrible company.
Yeah, right.
Well,
right
it seems
now.
to go these days, isn't it?
Yeah, right now I'm
Blizzard,
just
like Activision, Konami.
Yeah, right now I'm just like filling in data on this thing that was made specifically for BFAV called it's on the mod author's GitHub, and it's just generate farm animal data. So I'm just like going through here and filling out just bits of data so that I can just paste it into the content.json. And there are a lot of fucking NPCs that you can give things to in Stardew. Especially because I'm going to be making a compatibility patch for SVE as soon as I hear back from Flash Shifter on whether or not he is okay with compatibility patches.
I don't see why they would have an issue with it.
No, but like it's just bad form to ask for forgiveness rather than permission when it comes to using stuff from other mods.
Right. Yeah, when it comes to using assets, I say always ask permission, never because this route.
And it has to use assets because you have these things on your farm, so you need to have like the you need to have the overworld sprites basically.
Mm. And also sometimes mod authors get really uppity for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, so like I was talking to someone on Protochroma who happens to be involved in the Stardew modding community, and I have this whole other tangent to go off on relating to that. But yeah, I was talking to her earlier, and she said that the Stardew modding community is super tight with each other, but like apparently Flash is known for like not really following the same sort of protocols as the other mod authors. Mm-hmm. And like I've spoken to Flash Shifter one-on-one before because I used to beta test for Stardew Valley Expanded before I just stopped playing Stardew. So like I'm pretty sure that I'll be granted permission, but it's still just good form to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And as for that tangent that I was gonna go off on, so sometimes on Protochroma, I look at the Delve results and see results from a user named Minerva, and I thought that name sounded familiar. So
that name does sound familiar.
So I just kind of assumed, okay, this person's probably on Dragon Cave or Flight Rising or something, and I just saw them in passing at one point. But apparently, when I was setting up my mods for Stardew, I realized, no, that's not where I know that name from. I know that name because they are not only a fairly prominent Stardew mod author, but they also made a mod at my request to remove the buzzing flies from the mine because the buzzing piqued my anxiety.
I remember.
So it's like,
wasn't that one of the mods you made me use when I did the Let's Play of it?
Yes.
That's why I recognize the name.
Yeah, the actual full username is Minerva Maga, but yeah, I just thought that name sounded familiar, and then I realized that name sounds familiar because I've spoken to them before.
Small world after all.
Yeah. And then I told Getharia about it, and she was highly amused by it because apparently, like, a bunch of the prominent Stardew modders share a bunch of side servers that have nothing to do with Stardew. So that's how my day's been.
I honestly don't know how my day's been. It feels like it's been a blur. I've been having jaw pain all day and yesterday, so I've been dealing with that. And when it comes to tooth pain, I'm a bitch.
Man, I can't wait to farm Sebastian and Abigail.
That sounds so fucked up.
It does.
I think even in practice it will be slightly fucked up.
Okay, just people seeds is worse.
Yeah, I know, because you eat people.
Because you can turn them into wine or pickles or whatever.
I'm sorry.
Pickled
what?
Abigail.
Yeah. Because, okay, so the idea behind people seeds is that you give a golden pumpkin to the altar that's just randomly in Pierre's house, and you get some sort of staff in return, and you use that staff on an NPC, and it lets you basically pick them up. What you can do is you can then put the NPC into a seed maker and grow more of that NPC.
There's a reason why I went, oh no, when she mentioned this.
At that point, the NPC is then considered a crop. And you can do with the NPC what you do with crops in general. You can turn them into pickles, you can turn them into juice or wine or jelly, or you can eat them. And I'm pretty sure that they actually do have like dialogue pop-ups when you do stuff like that with them.
They do.
Yeah.
They scream in horror.
Yeah. So like my thinking when I was first trying to get people seeds to work is I could turn an NPC into a crop. I could do the seed maker thing. I could grow 2 of them and then just go put one of them back. But I could
they can be brought back?
Yes. I could just never actually get the mod to work.
Oh, okay. And you found a way to fix it?
No, I was thinking it's probably just easier to make an entirely new mod in that vein. Because People Seeds apparently has some really complex coding in the background, and well, for one thing,
why?
Yeah, I mean it's not that big a concept, but there's like a bunch of little things that I think just make the coding really weird. And I figure all I really want to do is grow the NPCs and use them as furniture. So I figure it's not gonna.
What?
Okay, listen. You can place the NPCs
Your
down
ESO
in your
is
house.
coming out.
What?
Your ESO is coming out.
No, like this is seriously a thing that you can do in People Seeds. You can just when they're in the like item state, you can use them as furniture. And I should mention, furniture in this game is just considered any decoration.
So like a prop character.
Yeah.
Like
So like you don't just sit in the character's lap or something. No, you can just use them
that
as.
would be great.
You can just use them as glorified statues.
Okay, that makes that. When I heard furniture, I was instantly thinking, "Oh, you can turn Penny into a chair."
Not that kind of furniture.
Weirdly enough, I knew exactly what Kuda meant when she said
Well,
it.
yeah, because ESO has a really similar concept in that you can put NPCs in your house as like decoration. Some of them walk around, some of them just stand there. It kind of depends on what category they are.
That's why you lead with that kind of thing.
I kind of
I understood
assumed,
it right away.
Yeah, Nate knew what I was talking about. It's not my fault that ESO has changed me.
When you see an NPC and you're like, man, that they would make a good piece of furniture.
Yeah, like really, and just stick the NPC in the corner of your house somewhere.
Is this just slavery with extra steps?
Okay, so no lie, I am vaguely considering calling my BFAV mod BFAV human trafficking.
Oh,
And Gathuria told me that is hilarious, but also probably not acceptable.
No, that's
Right now I'm just kind of calling it BFA villagers. But I need to find an NPCs tier pun.
Yeah.
That's top tier.
Yeah.
Someone who loads puns, that one. That gets my approval. That's rare.
Yeah. But I need to find a way to merge BFAV into this concept and still have the title of the mod like tell you what it does. Because like Gathuria was suggesting things like let me see. Let me just look at my phone. Like permanent sleepovers, and there was this one that was like an isekai title. Let me go find it.
But what you need to do is find like one word to describe the mod and just make an acronym from that word.
Hobo collection simulator. Permanent sleepovers. Help, we're cursed to live in eternity in this barn and can't get out.
Nice. I love isekai titles. Speaking of like Japanese stuff in general, I've been wanting to find a good VN to read. I don't know. Maybe Steins Gate. That might be fun.
That's a good one.
Also, there is this. Okay, so there's a mod called Animal Husbandry, which, among other things, it lets you butcher animals to harvest meat and stuff. And I was talking with Gathuria about like compatibility stuff, and at one point I say compatibility notes on Nexus be like animal husbandry. Well, it works, but
Are you sure you want to?
Yeah. Because right now they're just using the data for cows, which means that if you use animal husbandry on them, then they will give you beef. Well, maybe I should go with pigs.
If you close your eyes and pretend real hard, I'm sure it will be.
Yeah. Maybe
but
instead
if
of...
you close your eyes, does it feel like nothing's ever changed
Hear me out for a
at
minute.
all?
Guys. Hear me out for a minute. Instead of using the data for cows, I should use the data for pigs.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, why not?
Pork.
Because human meat has been described as tasting like pork.
I've always... never mind.
And it would probably taste like really shitty pork, too.
Yeah.
It's
honestly.
more like ram, actually. I just know that not because I ate people. That's what I've been told. I've been told.
No, seriously, like, even if you've been told that, I've actually done a lot of research on this for various reasons, usually roleplay related, and I always hear that it tastes like pork.
I'm just going off of what a convicted cannibal said.
Convicted cannibals have also said pork. But I think that might also be because the average person doesn't really eat ram that often.
True. I mean, how often does anyone eat goat? Like,
Well,
not lamb, actual goat.
Aren't rams sheep?
In the U.S., it's not very common,
Right.
except for like in migrant communities, particularly Islamic communities. It'll be pretty common.
Isn't ram sheep?
Mountain ram. Like, okay, the guy was from the Middle East, the article I read, so he was Muslim. And he said it tasted like wild mountain ram. If I remember correctly. I think he was Middle Eastern. It might have been one of the Soviet
rams are sheep.
satellites.
Male sheep are called rams. Although, to be fair, mountain goats are also technically sheep.
I could make a very dark joke, but I'm not going to, because that might actually get YouTube against me.
Yeah. I mean, I already criticized the algorithm, so here we
Okay,
are.
Okay, yeah, rams are male bighorn sheep.
A bighorn sheep, that's what I was trying to think of.
And it's still a sheep.
Yeah, I know, but that's what the dude said it tasted like in the article.
And then a further result down here says a male sheep or goat is called a ram. Okay, that's not very helpful. But I'm only really seeing it as bighorn sheep.
Ram you. Nobody watched
My suggestion for what the humans should drop, I don't know if it's possible, but it should be quote unquote beef.
Yeah.
I am not skilled enough for that.
Oh, okay.
But Nate, I just kind of assumed that you were making a pun.
I mean, it was intended as a pun, but also as a reference to the movie Babe. Old movie.
Oh.
It was about a pig.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I watched Babe.
Okay, what is the...
Yeah, I mean, I probably haven't watched it since I was like in kindergarten or something, maybe elementary school.
I think that's when it came out, like back then, because I remember seeing it when I was very little. Because I liked pigs when I was little.
Yeah. I mean,
still like pigs.
Yeah.
Okay,
it used to be like my favorite movie. I used to watch it apparently like every day when I was a toddler.
It was cute.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am now changing beef to pork.
Kadoki.
So that's a thing that I'm doing. Because originally it was beef because that was the default.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it would be pork. It is kind of funny as pork too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, pork. That's what comes from pigs.
The other white meat.
I had pork today. That's the funny thing.
I had eggs.
I'm one of those people who like. It's not that I don't like pork. It's that it's fine.
It's very boring.
Actually, for me, it's got a very pungent, strong flavor.
Really?
To it. Yeah.
I've never noticed that. To me, I grew up on pork, ham.
Yeah. For me, it's just a very sharp flavor that it has, and that's why I don't really like it too much.
That's understandable.
And it's funny that I like lamb so much, but I mean, it doesn't have that sharp flavor either. So, I don't know.
Lamb is delicious.
Oh, absolutely. I've had rabbit once, too.
Rabbit's actually really good.
I think I've had rabbit. Really sweet, right? It's like a sweet meat.
I just remember it tasting almost exactly like chicken.
It's extremely lean chicken.
Frog legs taste almost like chicken.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't had them for a long time, but yeah. But yeah, the time that I had rabbit was because I was like, what should I do for Easter dinner? I know, rabbit stew.
I love it.
It's it wasn't even trying to be funny. To me, it just seemed like that's probably where a lot of the Easter Bunny stuff came from, is considering the season of Easter. I bet you that rabbit was fairly common to be eating around that season.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I bet you that that's where a lot of the stuff about the Easter Bunny came from.
I might be, because I could be very wrong on this, but Ostara, the pagan roots of Easter, ironically,
Mm-hmm.
The goddess Ostara, one of her symbols was the rabbit.
Makes sense.
Again, that would also make sense considering the
Mm-hmm.
the
I
seasonality of Easter.
Mm-hmm. I could be wrong, but I think that's why the Easter Bunny is why we have a giant 6 foot tall rabbit delivering baskets to Santa Claus.
Specifically baskets of egg.
I had chocolate. The traditional stuff. It's weird. Sure, Santa Claus in the magical sense is fantastical, but at least believable. Easter Bunny is... I had a hard time believing the Easter Bunny when I was a kid. It made no sense to me.
Because why are rabbits being associated with eggs?
Exactly. That was my first thing I stopped believing in, was the Easter Bunny, because it was illogical for me. I was like, no, none of this makes sense. I wasn't a stupid kid. I was able to put one and one together and realize eggs don't come from rabbits.
I don't think my parents ever really tried to get me to believe in Santa and the Easter Bunny and stuff like that.
I don't think that I believed in a lot of these things to begin with, but I know the exact moment that I stopped believing that Santa might be a thing, because who remembers Roboraptor?
I do.
Yeah, so I wanted one of those really bad, but it was like $200 or something.
Everyone did.
Yeah, so I wanted one of those, and my parents were like, "No, it's too expensive." Whatever, because it was like $200 or something like that.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I had a habit of getting into everything. So I looked in my parents' closet one day when they just weren't home. It was early December, and I saw a Roboraptor up on the top shelf. I left it alone, figuring it's probably a Christmas present. When Christmas came around, it was addressed from Santa. So at that point, I just kind of put together, okay, yeah, Santa's not real.
Yeah.
See, my parents had a counter for that. They said Santa, because it's really hard for him to bring it all over the world in one night. He brings it throughout the months, and the parents just hide it. Because I did the same exact shit. I would go snooping.
I think the reason, like, for Santa in particular with my parents, is like, we weren't a poor family by any means, but, my parents would tell me when something was too expensive. Because of that, I learned the value of money pretty early and all that.
Yeah.
So, like, if I wanted something for Christmas, they would tell me it was too expensive, and they, wouldn't get it for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even when a gift was addressed from Santa, it was always understood, even to me, that no, that was from my parents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Hmm?
I'm just trying to think. I don't know. I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like I was always told to like my grandmother would always say, make sure you thank your parents too. It's not just Santa Claus. Like they have to give Santa the money or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, for us, or for me, I should say, there would be some presents that would be labeled, from Santa Claus, some presents that would be labeled from my parents,
Mhm.
But there was always this mutual understanding that my parents got them, or sometimes, stuff from my grandparents would be labeled from Santa too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Holidays were always kind of a weird entity in my house.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially things like Easter and Christmas, where they just, as is usually the case with non-religious households, it was just a day to get free stuff.
Hmm.
And, like,
As as someone who grew up in a religious household, it still was the same exact thing that day to get free stuff.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, but
We didn't
that's
do religious
like
or anything.
that's to be expected with a kid mindset. Um,
I'm 28
like,
and have that same
oh,
mindset almost.
okay. Has any millennial actually matured mentally?
I consider myself a 90s kid. Fuck millennials.
You do realize that
That's
90s is
the
millennial.
same thing.
Let me have my fantasy.
No.
Okay,
That should answer your question.
Phoenix.
That should answer your question. Are we mature enough? No, we're not.
Yeah, Phoenix, you were a millennial.
I know.
I'm
I
a
haven't come to
millennial.
terms with it, though.
Nate is just barely
I'm
a millennial.
on. Yeah, just barely.
Anyone younger than Nate is Gen Z.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
And
born before 95, you're a millennial.
Yeah.
After 95, you're fucked.
yeah,
Middle of 95 here.
yeah. 94 for me.
Yeah.
93.
I was having a
91.
minor existential crisis last night when I was just thinking about why I feel old. Consider the fact that I've been online for like 13, 14 years, and there are people online today that were not alive when I started using the internet.
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucks with your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. I don't like that.
There are adults today that were not alive for Y2K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I remember what I remember of the 90s. I can say I remember very fondly. And I know people who are born with that being the equivalent, like that's their 80s.
Mhm.
They don't know it, but they're nostalgic for it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Among those realizations are things like, I'm just barely older than Pokemon.
Yeah.
I'm about the same age as Pokemon.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you guys how I discovered Pokemon?
No, you never did.
I was channel surfing after school, looking for Digimon.
That's perfectly funny.
Yeah. I was looking for Digimon.
That's funny. I remember the way I was introduced. I was in the shopping cart being pushed. My mom was taking me through the toy aisle, and Pokemon just had came out, and that's all the toy aisle was. It was just all Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon just exploded in the US.
Yeah, and I wanted a Gengar stuffed animal. I could change into a Pokeball.
Good taste.
That was my first touch of Pokemon.
I think
that's why
for
Gengar is
me,
one of my favorites.
I think for me, it was my cousins had, quote unquote, outgrown their games, and they just had some of the Game Boy Pokemon games. I think Red, Blue, Yellow, and Gold, and maybe Crystal.
Yeah,
I think so. And they just gave them to me because they had outgrown them.
quote unquote outgrown. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fucking 27 and I'm helping make a Pokemon game.
I just love how
so both of my cousins were, kind of the, more on the jock side of things. So,
And me, I just got Blue around the time it came out.
So, my first Pokemon game, I think that I mentioned this, my first Pokemon game was Ruby. Even though I had played Blue and Silver beforehand, they weren't mine, and there were also just things wrong with the cartridges. Blue couldn't save, so I never got past Rock Tunnel. And Silver had this, weird corruption in it, and also I could never find Waterfall.
Yeah, well, I remember having to walk people how to get Waterfall in high school during Heart Gold and Soul Silver. It was such a stupidly placed item.
Yes, so
it was.
I had played Silver and then Crystal, but I think I played Crystal after I got Ruby, but the Crystal wasn't mine either. And Crystal was when I actually completed a Johto game, but that was the one with corruption. With Silver, I think it was just that I couldn't find Waterfall. But with Crystal, the save file, which, by the way, I had just newly created, had a glitched mail item in the mailbox that I couldn't remove, or I technically could, but it would stay in there, and I kept trying to remove it, and it just made the game freak the fuck out. I think it just actually crashed the game at some point. And when I got to the trainer house in Viridian, all of Cal's Pokemon were level 0. I don't have any idea why Crystal did that, because I didn't even own a Game Shark, let alone compatible with a Game Boy Color game. And and I had done no glitches. It was just like that from the beginning of the save file.
I remember that I fucked up my copy of Ruby with Action Replay.
I did that with Sapphire.
I did that with Emerald.
Wow.
Well, kinda. Basically, what happened was I warped around until I got myself stuck.
Yeah, you got yourself stuck in the Sevi Island stuff, right?
Naval Rock, yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Phoenix?
Well, I will say I corrupted my copy of Pearl, but which was also my first Pokemon game. Could the crystal copy you had been bootlegged to be that broken?
No.
Oh, that's weird. That's
was
bad game for you.
Throughout the entire playthrough, it was just perfectly normal crystal, except for those two things.
Considering early game freaking Gen 1 and 2 being completely busted, that's not that surprising.
Well, yeah, but like there's almost like no way that you could get those kinds of effects without actually glitching or cheating, except for like physical damage to the cartridge corrupting the data.
That could very well be.
Maybe a problem happened in the factory.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been like that. But it was just so fucking weird. Because, like, I'm super into just taking apart the coding of the first two generations of Pokemon, but I wasn't into that back then. And not only that, I didn't even know how to do this shit.
Yeah.
This was the me that ran away from a shiny Aron because it had red eyes and I thought it was evil. Yeah.
That's cute though.
Yeah.
This is the me that caught a shiny Latios, not realizing it was special and thinking that the game was just wrong when it said it was blue.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know what a shiny Pokemon was, and I didn't know what Latios looked like at the time. And now that Latios is my fucking mascot.
A good story for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your first caught shiny?
Yes. Because like it was my first captured shiny, period. Not like the red Gyarados isn't even a factor here because even though I played Silver before I had Ruby, I knocked out the Gyarados.
Gotcha. Oh. Damn.
Yeah, I couldn't manage to catch it, so I just kind of like figured, eh. Right. And then I never turned in the red scale for the EXP share because I didn't realize that was what the red scale was for. And I thought it was just some guy trying to scam me.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I ever did that either. When I played Crystal, I never knew that. That's in Crystal too, right? Because I have Crystal on the 3DS.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever did that in Crystal.
Yeah, I think you give it to Mr. Pokemon or something. And, like, I just thought that this guy was trying to scam me. Kid me was not very bright.
No, I would never even thought about going back doing that.
I mean, a lot of Gens 1 and 2 were so god dang it.
I was about to say that. Like, Nate, have you seen Papa C's videos about doing Pokemon as Nintendo intended?
No.
Some of the early guides are just kind of hilarious.
Yes, use your Master Ball on a Spearow. Or a Magneton.
That's not in any guides, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's in one.
I think it was in one of the Prima guides.
Wow.
It is. I have it. I'm pretty sure it's Fire Red. Or it's Silver. It's Professor Oak, so it has to be... No, Professor Oak was in all those games, too. Give me a second, and I will look up what it was, because I know for a fact that's the thing.
Yeah, Nate, the channel is called Papa C. Like, Papa as in another word for dad, and C as in the ocean. And the playlist is just called Nintended, or something like that. But the actual videos are called Playing Pokemon Whatever as Nintendo Intended. And it's just him following guides 100%, and discovering that a lot of guides have really weird phrasing. And also that the Diamond and Pearl guide is obsessed with using pluck.
A lot of Pokemon had berries, and you can steal them from the trainers.
That's kind of how I learned that, like, the easiest way to deal with, which one is it in the Valley Wind works? Mars?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the easiest way to deal with Mars was to pluck away the citrus berry.
They just one-shot the Purugly.
Well, it's kind of difficult to one-shot a Purugly at that point in the game.
Yeah.
Because I think the only fighting type you have access to is Machop. And who wants to use a Machop when you're in Sinnoh?
Well, I mean, unless you want with Chimchar.
Yeah, Monferno has.
Fair. But also, like, that's only like a third of the people.
Or do what I did.
What?
I used Throttle and Curse.
Hmm.
Yeah, that works.
But yeah, like Mars's Purugly,
really
is a case of Whitney's Miltank in that there's not a whole lot of ways to deal with it at that point in the game that an average player is going to have access to, unless you use a specific starter. And it's a normal type with some impressive tactics, I guess we're calling it. Because, like, just the reason Miltank was such a pain in the ass is because it has attract and roll out.
Yeah.
While being a tank. Mm-hmm. Purugly is just fucking fast. Did you know that Purugly outspeeds Latios?
Yes. That one I didn't know.
I bring that up whenever Purugly or Latios' speed comes up. Latios can fly faster than a fucking jet plane and is outsped by an ugly cat.
And, like, you can't even use the whole, it's not their actual, like, speed that's being measured, it's their responsiveness in combat. That's a common argument.
Is it?
I think a Latios would be able to outsmart that fat cat.
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
Yeah. I mean, Latios is, like, explicitly mentioned in the Pokedex as having human-like intelligence.
Yeah.
Also the speed of a jet.
Yeah. Also, Pidgeot flies at Mach 2, and Purugly outspeeds that too. Yeah.
Maybe in Pokemon Arceus, I'm going to use a Purugly because I never used a Purugly before.
Purugly is like one of those Pokemon that's like weirdly underrated, even by Game Freak.
Oh yeah, because this is Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes and upcoming Legends Arceus is the first time Purugly's been in it since Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that literally the only games that you can get Purugly in are both versions of Pearl and Legends.
Yes.
What the hell is this tip?
And it was the Prima guide was of red and blue.
Okay, that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, it does. Oh no, that's not good.
Because remember, Red and Blue is also the game where a Great Ball is usually better than an Ultra Ball.
Yep.
Thank you, Gen 1, for making...
I still think that was just a typo in the code. If you look at the code, it's a typo. Or rather, they forgot to put in a special case for the Ultra Ball.
The fact is that a Great Ball is still better than an Ultra Ball in many scenarios.
Yeah, in most scenarios, unless you're going against very specific Pokemon.
Yeah.
Most of which aren't ever found in the wild anyway.
It's like the whole fucking, like, how a bunch of Pokemon in Gen 2 can run away, except for the fact that you never find them in the wild. That's Porygon, that's
fucking
Umbreon, Eevee. What were the other two?
I always had Snubbull run away from me.
Okay, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are a bunch of Pokemon in Gen 2 that run away that you can't find in the wild.
Oh, they can't find in the wild.
Yeah.
Oh. I never even knew about that.
I know offhand that Umbreon...
I assume that what happened... Sorry.
I remember offhand that some of them were Umbreon, Eevee, and Porygon. There were two more just generic wild Pokemon, and also the legendary birds, I believe, can run away.
Yeah. But what I assume happened with that is basically before they actually started deciding what Pokemon went in each route, they just decided which Pokemon could run away if, you encountered them.
I assumed that it was Safari Zone related.
Because it would just be a thing of putting a flag up,
Yeah.
Or activating a flag for that Pokemon. It's not that hard to program that in, so, just go across the Pokemon list, say this Pokemon can run away, this one, this one, this one, and we'll decide where they go later.
Well, I can see it being a different method if they actually had to put in percentage chances for the Pokemon to run away, and 0 was just can't run away at all, and it could have just been a typo in those cases.
Maybe
they planned on these Pokemon being in the wild to be like Entei and Raikou, where you have to chase them around.
Okay, it was fairly obvious that the legendary birds were planned to be like that, but then there's, you're not going to be chasing around an Eevee.
Yeah.
No, but I could see Mew.
Okay, but Mew's not one of the Pokemon that can run away.
Oh, I thought you said Mew. I'm sorry.
I said Eevee, Umbreon, Porygon, and the legendary birds. And there's two more. There's two more generic Pokemon that I can't remember offhand.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how I got Mew out of any of that.
Neither do I.
Actually, based on your list, the only other Pokemon is Togetic.
Oh, I might have been thinking Togepi and Togetic. Okay.
Also, hearing Eevee and now Togetic and Porygon reminds me in Gen 4, what was that one house that you could go to?
That's very specific.
Right, but those Pokemon in particular are ones that can show up.
The Trophy Garden, yeah.
Yeah, the Trophy Garden. It happens to be Pokemon that can show up in the Trophy Garden in Gen 4, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that was intentional.
No, but it's really interesting that those particular Pokemon...
There's a lot of little connections like that I'm pretty sure were not intentional at all, but they exist and they're funny.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure if the whole Lichen Rock is a rock type because rock is weak to steel and werewolves are weak to silver is an intentional thing or just me realizing something funny.
There's no fucking way anybody thought about that.
Okay, but also, Lichen Rock Midnight is a literal werewolf.
But there's no fucking way some Japanese guy thought of that.
Okay, but Monster Hunter Rise is getting a werewolf monster, and I don't know about you, but I feel like if an unapologetically Japanese game like Monster Hunter Rise is getting these Western monster things for their next expansion, one of which is a werewolf, I think that it's possible for one of the Pokemon people to think, oh, Lycanroc should be pure rock type because it's a werewolf and rock types are weak to steel. Silver is a metal. Werewolves are weak to silver.
But I
will
mean,
die on this hill, Nate.
You're. I normally like. I like. It sounds great on paper.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hell of a stretch.
Like they could have made it fairy type. They could have made it. What is an ice type? Weak to steel. You know.
Oh, why would they make it fairy type? It's a werewolf.
I mean, werewolves show up in fairy tales.
I mean, sure, if it was dark fairy.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Dark fairy would also be a pretty good one, though.
Yeah. You know, I'm just kind of.
Are werewolves fey?
You know, saying that. I don't think that's why they made it dark. Or not dark type, rock type.
Are werewolves fey?
I don't know.
Because there's also just the fact that if werewolves are weak to silver, fey creatures are weak to iron. That's a thing. I don't know. Hang on. I'm gonna Google this.
I'm 99% sure they're not fey. Like I always way it sounds in mythology.
In something called Lost Girl, a werewolf is a type of fey species similar to shapeshifter. But whatever Lost Girl is.
Then?
Yeah. What was that?
I mean, if it's able to shapeshift at that, shapeshift. If it's fey like that, I think maybe you could argue a skinwalker could be a fey.
I mean, sure.
I'm getting mixed. I'm getting mixed responses on Google.
I think it's one of those things where, like, different groups of people say different things about it, and you know.
I've never heard it called a fey before, but it makes you think.
Yeah.
Like, the origins of werewolves are, what, somewhere in France?
Europe in general, but France does have a specific word for them, yeah.
Lycans, isn't it?
No,
Lugaru.
Lugaru. That's why Lycanrock's Japanese name is Lugarugan.
Okay, so werewolf definitely was probably intentional then.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
okay, so now knowing that, your stretch isn't a stretch.
Okay, yeah. So its Japanese name is Lugarugan, which is literally just French for werewolf, and its English name is Lycanrock, which comes from lycanthrope, which is another word for werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
And Midnight Lycanrock is literally a werewolf.
Yeah. Which I honestly don't. I like A-form Lycanrock best, just saying.
I like Dusk.
Yeah, Dusk is the best of both worlds.
I don't have much of an opinion on that.
The fourth starter no one asked for.
Let's see.
I like fourth starter type Pokemon.
Oh, I would love it if they actually did it. Like, make it an official thing instead of Lycanrock being just the thing you found in the Diamond Mountain. The real volcano, I think, is called Diamond. Diamond Head. Diamond Point.
Yeah, like, now I'm just stuck on this wondering if werewolves are fey.
Now, how many fourth starter-esque Pokemon are there? Like Pikachu. Okay, I'm gonna count Pikachu. I'm gonna count Riolu.
Eevee,
yeah.
Eevee. Oh, Kanto has 5 starters.
Yeah.
Well, also consider Meowth, because that's it's not
the same level as the others, but
it still should be considered.
And Meowth has been getting special treatment, getting a regional form with every single region.
It has a fucking Gigantamax. Meowth Pikachu and Eevee are like the only NFE Pokemon to have Gmax. So
okay, Meowth is pseudo starter.
yeah.
Did Gen 2 have any? I can't think of any.
I would say Togepi.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Meryl, too.
Mm,
Oh, that's water type, though.
No, I don't think. I wouldn't count Meryl as the same type of, pseudo starter.
Right. Just a semi-mascot.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is Lost Girl anyway?
I've
Oh.
never heard of it.
Eh.
Gen 3, would you say Plusle and Minun?
No.
No.
Thank God. I'm glad you didn't go with that.
So I just see this in an excerpt on Google, but in France, werewolves would transform by going into fairy pools and it cuts off there.
So, sort of fairy, but not full fairy.
Yeah. In France, werewolves would transform by going to fairy pools during the full moon, which would also seem to indicate that the fairies were involved in this transformation somehow. Okay.
So it's more or less a curse by the fairies. Or a blessing, depending on what you're looking at it as.
Not necessarily, because that could also just mean that werewolves are fairies.
It just
The way that I look at it, almost every European folklore creature that isn't a dragon is some sort of fae. And dragons are just like in their own class because Europe also thought they were demons.
Unicorn?
Unicorn or fae.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that would be considered a dragon, I think. It would fall in that category. Cockatrice.
Cockatrices, I'm not sure.
Pretty sure those would be dragons.
Yeah. I mean, Dragonology considers them to be dragons. Sort of.
Yes, it does. Trying to go through my list of European mythical creatures. And ones that I would question if they're fae or not. Yeah, no, most are fae.
Yeah. Almost every European folklore creature that isn't a dragon is a fae.
Exactly. So, does this answer the question? Are werewolves fairies?
Maybe.
I think that might be if they're not actual fae, they're from the fae's world.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think twice if somebody categorized them as fae. I wouldn't be like, oh, I don't think so. I'd be like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, it's like that was had me thinking that I wanted to initially my knee-jerk reaction was no. Finding more information out about it, and it's like, oh, maybe.
Maybe.
So does this mean you're gonna make a fairy type werewolf Pokemon, Kuda?
I mean, I kind of. I have a dark type werewolf, except it's not really a werewolf. It's just a branch evolution of Wooloo called Werewolf. And it's dark type. I could make it fairy type, I think.
I mean, I was kidding, but
Well, actually, let me see. Hold on. Where is Werewolf on here? Werewolf is dark fairy. Yep.
Wow, you've already done it. Wow.
Yeah, so that's a thing. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Every monster in Europe's a fairy, apparently.
What?
I mean, kind of makes sense.
Every monster in Europe is fairy.
Yep.
Oof, 20 hours, goddamn.
Hmm?
I just basically threw my platoon at a base, which was a grinder, and now I have a 20-hour repair.
Ah.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do that next time.
These are very hard bases.
Huh.
Like, they really fucked over the player base this event.
Mm.
Because last event, because it goes like on a 3-story cycle. Like every month there's an event, and it's a story where you're fighting a certain faction. Last month, you were able to disable the enemy units with electricity.
Yeah.
This event, they buffed their unit. The Kickside buffed their NPC units, so they can't be affected by shock weapons. So you're basically, no matter what you do, you're throwing your shit into a meat grinder.
Okay.
Well, at least I have 2.5 million XP. I'm pretty much done.
What?
They revealed. Did you see the new reveal trailer for Pokemon Arceus?
Someone posted it in Sardonyx, but I didn't look at it yet.
Yeah,
it's less a reveal trailer and more
like a
overview.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's just some parts of it that look so good. And then there are other shots that look like it's from Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. And it's just like it looks good. Then sometimes it doesn't. But I love the fact that you're basically dodging attacks from Pokemon. It's like, this Garchomp will kill you. That alone has me very excited.
Pokemon getting dark.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been getting dark since like Gen 7 in particular, but also a little bit since Gen 5.
Mm-hmm. Gen 7 went really dark.
Yeah.
Gen 6 went really dark too, with the whole genocide shit.
Yeah.
Well, that was like... It was less direct than things like Gen 7, where you have actual predator-prey interactions between certain Pokemon, and
child abuse.
and child abuse, and frozen Pokemon. And
whatever happened to those Pokemon Lucamine fucked up?
I don't know. And whatever the fuck was going on with Nihilego.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Yeah. The fact that it's kind of not directly stated, but implied that Type Null attacked Gladion.
Yeah. It's like he had to fight with it to get it to trust him.
Yeah, it's like his clothes are torn up. He has this weird like twitch in his arm, which we never get an explanation for that, but it's actually possible that there's nerve damage from whatever Type Null did to his clothes as well.
Or he's just a Chuny.
What?
Or he's just a Chuny.
I'm not sure I know what that is.
Chunibyo. It's a Japanese term. Best described as main character syndrome. Or middle schooler syndrome.
I
Okay.
ain't gonna lie. Gladion does kind of fit that.
Yeah. So you know how sometimes it's most common with boys, but they go through like a really edgy phase when they think that they're like the main character in their own anime or video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Chunibyo.
I don't see what that has to do with Gladion's twitching arm.
So that type of behavior of, pretending that you have something inside of you that wants to come out, that's common in Chunibyo.
Okay.
That's one of the common depictions of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's bad because I've seen this shit in real life. Kids doing it.
Yep. Yep.
Never forget that one point where like Gladion is upset by something and he just randomly decides to battle you.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take my frustration out on you.
Also, this
My
conversation,
sister's missing.
the thing about dark Pokemon, or dark themes in Pokemon, just reminds me I should start. Like, I got a new phone, so I stopped reading Pokemon Special for a bit and started up again. Because I was on the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire chapter. And I will say the XY chapter of Pokemon Special was just so good.
Oh, that just kind of reminds me. In XYZ, I think it was, Ash kind of got called out on his protagonist stuff by
Doesn't Serena do
Lysander.
it? Oh, it's Lysander?
Yeah.
I know Serena goes off on him too.
I
He
know
loses
Gladion goes off on him a little bit in the Sun and Moon anime. Because he's going like, who are you to have met so many legendary Pokemon? What the hell is going on with you? Meanwhile, Lysander just, like, thinks that Ash is his personal chosen one or whatever. And then when
Lysander
Ash says...
was a great villain.
He was in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
I have no...
In the anime, he was so much better in the game.
I have no opinion on him in the game, but, like, he was a top-tier villain in the anime.
Oh yeah, definitely. The anime, XY's anime improved upon the game so much.
Mm-hmm. XY's anime improved upon the anime so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, like, in the game, Lysander's just redhead Hitler.
Yeah.
And
why is it that
anime,
every piece of media with Gen 6 is better than X and Y as games?
Well, I mean, X and Y were fun.
Yeah.
I think the X and Y had so much story potential, and all the other media outlets ran with the potential.
I feel like the game was like, it was going towards that, and then like one of the higher ups went, no, this is getting too dark, dial it down a bit. But the anime and manga didn't have to do that.
I mean, look at the finale of the, well, not the finale, but the big battle between the Zygardes.
Yeah.
The big climax, and Lysander just getting obliterated.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like when it comes to dark themes in Pokemon, the games are going to be dialed down in comparison to the anime and manga, just because, like, the games are kind of... they're the form of media that is most likely to be bought and seen by children.
Yeah.
So they have to be mindful of that and not go too out there.
Yeah.
Which is why I think Arceus Legends became a thing, because from what it's looking like, it is going to be a slightly more...
I mean, pretty much any story-based spin-off is a lot darker than the main series.
Pokemon Ranger and its sequels.
Ranger, Mystery Dungeon, the Aura games, Legends.
I really hope Legends does good.
Yeah, in general, Pokemon Special gets really dark sometimes.
Something cross-section of an Arbok.
Yeah,
I was about to ask if that's that manga that has the Arbok getting cut in half.
Yep.
That's also the manga where the Elite Four tries to kill Red.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because they all want to get rid of humanity.
Was it because they wanted to get rid of humanity, or was it just because Red beat them?
I don't remember. It's been so long since I've read the Red Blue those chapters.
Hang on, I'll look it up.
Because I'm pretty sure it was just because they had this like reputation of being unbeatable.
Yeah. But I mean, the XY chapter deals with gifted kid syndrome. It deals with media corruption. What else was there? Damn, I can't remember the third buzzword that I used to describe it at one point.
Yeah, I remember us having this conversation.
Yeah.
And you couldn't remember the third word then either.
Yeah, no. But the way they deal with, or handle the whole gifted kid syndrome thing is really neat. Because X, his thing is that he was in a junior trainer tournament 5 years beforehand, and he had won. And everybody around him was like, oh, this kid's going places. He's going to be a gym leader, maybe even an Elite Four. He's going to be one of the best trainers ever. And they started putting all of this pressure on him and started hounding him for interviews and stuff like that. And he just couldn't handle that. So he shut himself in his room for the next 5 years, never coming out of his room. Because the media traumatized him that much.
Jesus.
It's like the most realistic story Pokemon's done.
Yeah. And then Y's whole thing is that her mother was a Rhyhorn racer. And so, all the media, again, and also her mother, were just expecting her to become a Rhyhorn racer. And she didn't like being forced into that. Even though she was good at it, she just didn't she didn't want to do that. So what she did is, she did the rebellious thing of doing the most opposite thing that she could think of and starting to become a sky trainer. That was the most opposite thing that she could think of to do to Rhyhorn racing. And because she was relatively famous, she actually got really bullied in the Sky Trainer school. All the kids there were like, oh, you should just stay on the ground since your mother's a Rhyhorn racer and all that. And she couldn't tell her mother about it because she thought her mother would be like, oh, well, I told you shouldn't have started to become a Sky Trainer. I told you should have, it's, I don't think her mother would have done that, but she was afraid that her mother would have,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is all just reminding me of that random musing that I had last night about what if Danny Phantom took itself with worm level seriousness. Yeah. Because I mentioned this in Zedge last night, but Danny Phantom for a Nickelodeon cartoon was fucking dark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was like it was offset by well-timed humor with the quote-unquote muggles being fucking oblivious. But if it took itself with worm level seriousness, or what's another good example? I would say Haven level seriousness, but it's that's hold a candle to worm.
No.
Just the idea of it actually having realistic sort of cause and effect with the whole keeping your superpowers a secret thing, which is definitely touched upon in Worm, which is why I made that connection. It already took itself super seriously, but it was still, at the end of the day, a Nickelodeon cartoon.
Yeah.
So it had to lighten things up a bunch. But Danny Phantom deals with abuse, it deals with neglect, it deals with bullying. I'm pretty sure it also deals with gifted kid syndrome. And later on, media corruption. Hang on, I actually listed off a bunch of things. It deals with PTSD. In one case, it deals with the equivalent in that universe of suicidal depression.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Heavy subjects for a kid show.
Yeah.
I just remembered the third buzzword. Stranger danger.
Ah, yes.
No,
okay.
So like in one of the early chapters of X and Y, they had just left Vaniville, which by the way had been destroyed by Xerneas and Yveltal. And Team Flare was actually after X because he happened to have a Mega Ring because of stuff that happened during the tournament 5 years beforehand.
Right.
And so, they knew who he was. And at one point they go to an inn. And the innkeeper actually turned out to be a part of Team Flare and had them ambushed. And from then on, they literally could not trust any adults from then on because they didn't know if any adult would be part of Team Flare.
Okay, now that just reminds me of Animorphs. But yeah, I found the post where I was talking about Danny Phantom. Mental illness, abuse, neglect, bullying, PTSD, and in one case, the equivalent of suicidal depression. So, who here has watched Danny Phantom?
I don't think I've watched all of it, but I did watch it when I was little.
Did you watch a particular episode that was an hour and something long special called The Ultimate Enemy?
I think so.
Yeah.
That was the one with time traveling and Danny's evil self from the future and stuff.
Yeah, I remember watching it. I don't remember anything about it.
So basically, the way that the evil Danny got to be a thing is that a whole cascade of events led to Danny's family as well as Tucker and Sam getting killed by a fucking explosion. And Danny got thrown into this huge depression, went to Vlad, who is his fucking arch nemesis, and asked Vlad to use these ghost glove things to rip out Danny's humanity, and after which the ghost Danny killed the human Danny. And if that's not a kid-friendly metaphor for killing yourself, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Definitely. Or even losing your humanity.
Because even Vlad recounting this incident was even Danny just wanted the pain to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely playing with suicide.
Yeah. Even just beyond the fact that Ghost Danny killed Human Danny. Yes, that is killing yourself, but that's not the point that I'm making.
Yeah.
Still dark for a kid show.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They really had to skirt around the idea of Danny being so depressed that he wanted to die.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think having realized that's probably the most dark that I've ever seen any Nickelodeon cartoon get.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My knowledge, anyways.
And this is including moments from Fairly Odd Parents where it also got a little bit up there.
Yeah, I remember some of that shit getting they really going into this kind of subject matter.
Yeah.
Of course, as a kid, you don't see it, but looking back as an adult,
oh yeah,
especially sure they had their crude jokes here and there, but they touched on some really dark shit.
Yeah,
had some really dark episodes.
Timmy was just stuck in this weird limbo between abuse and neglect, and yeah.
I'm not trying to one up anything, or it just I will say that in 2012, Legend of Korra did something that was pretty dark too, in that there was basically an on-screen
Yeah.
murder-suicide.
I kind of lost interest in that universe after Last Airbender, so.
Yeah.
I didn't
But
watch Legend of Korra either.
basically, the main villain of the first season of Legend of Korra, after getting beaten, he and his brother escaped the city on a motorboat, and then he opened the fuel tank, and he had this glove that could, create electricity, and he stuck that into the fuel tank and blew themselves up.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Now
the explosion was on screen.
Now I will say that this is only in the context of Nickelodeon cartoons, because I know for a fact that Disney has gotten darker.
Yeah.
Even just beyond the obvious Hunchback of Notre Dame shit. There is the fact that Lion King 2, Zero literally commits suicide.
Yeah.
It's not as obvious since they took out a particular voice line of Zero's, but when she's falling from the cliff into the river, she's smiling. They didn't remove that part.
It is dark.
Yeah.
And the first Lion King was dark too.
Oh yeah. I mean, the first Lion King is just Hamlet with lions, but still.
Yeah.
I was just about to mention say that. It's just Hamlet.
Gravity Falls got pretty dark too.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Gravity Falls.
I mean, it dealt with a lot of very Lovecraftian themes, and yeah. And like the main villain in the last part of the show, like, he was just this completely like Lovecraftian agent of chaos, basically. One of those characters that the fandom like memes to death, but is probably one of the scariest villains in like all of fiction.
The little pyramid thing with the eye?
Yeah. Bill Cipher.
Yeah. That's like the only thing that I know about Gravity Falls is that there's a pyramid named Bill Cipher. Also, I just remembered something that I think I have to amend my comment about the whole suicide thing and Danny Phantom being the darkest that I've ever seen a Nickelodeon cartoon get, because if Invader Zim took itself with any level of seriousnness, it would be Danny Phantom.
Yeah, I mean, if Jonah Vasquez like got his way.
Yeah, like if Invader Zim took itself with Danny Phantom level seriousness, it would be darker than Danny Phantom. Because I think it was like episode 3 or something where Zim literally harvests organs from children.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I haven't watched a lot of Invader Zim, but I have at least heard of that episode.
Yeah.
No,
I would definitely agree.
Jonah Vasquez is kind of messed up. Like you hear about some of the other stuff he's written, like some of the stuff he wrote before Invader Zim, and you're like, why the fuck did Nickelodeon give him a show?
I miss Invader
He's
Zim.
not joking.
What's that?
I was saying, you're not joking. Like, I've watched a few videos about him, and some fucked up shit.
And what's even funnier is that despite how messed up this guy is and how dark Invader Zim would be if it took itself seriously, the whole bloody Gur thing is a myth.
Never even heard about that.
Okay, so the bloody Gur...
I think I've seen screenshots, but I think it's just a creepypasta thing.
The bloody Gur thing is the idea that... Okay, so in Invader Zim intros, some bits of it are different from episode to episode, and the idea is that in some episodes, or maybe just one episode, it depends on who you ask, there is a single frame of Gur covered in blood, but that is a myth.
That's... I hate creepypastas like that.
Yeah.
It's not a creepypasta, it's just an urban legend, I guess.
There's so much... there's so much overlap between creepypasta and urban legend that...
Fair.
Yeah.
I would have to say urban legend has to have a touch of truth in it. Where creepypastas is just some edgy teenager making up a story.
Yeah, I think then in that case it would be an urban legend, because there are, like, in the intros there are occasionally just like a couple frames of Gur, but there's like the point behind this little urban legend is that in one of those instances there's like one single frame of Gur covered in blood. But as far as I can tell, that's not real.
I mean, it would, though, match up to Jonan Vasquez.
It would.
Like, what he's...
It would. But, yeah, I'm just thinking, like, I barely remember any episodes of Invader Zim, but I do know that it has moments where if there were any sort of realistic consequences for what's going on, then this would no longer be a kid's show.
God, I mean, the episode where he flies the Mars and the kid flies the Mercury, or no, the moon and Mercury.
There's one episode where Zim is just like trying to... I don't know if it's Zim or Dib that's doing this, but there's like one of them is containing this like nuclear explosion in like this weird slow time thing or whatever it is, and they're trying to get it away from everything before it kills literally everyone, including whoever it is that's holding the explosion. But just the fact that it's like a growing ball of just a nuclear explosion that is about to burst. There's that episode. Okay, I need to go find a clip of something because, like, there's this weird moment in Invader Zim that... Hang on. Come on, YouTube, load.
I am at an hour and a half, and I'm going to end my episode early because when I tried to upload the last episode, which was like almost 2 hours long, YouTube threw a fit. It did not like it. It wouldn't even give me a estimated time of how long it's going to take to upload. It was just like, yeah, we'll upload when we want to upload it. And and it's because it was...
If that's the case, then this is
so
the Nickelodeon episode.
Yeah.
Yes,
the Nickelodeon / Pokemon episode.
Yeah. It was a good damn. We had some damn good conversations and weird dreams too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tie into Nickelodeon.
Yep. And like, not sponsored by Alex Bale, but go watch Alex Bale. He has some really good. Like, no, he has some really good short horror films. Really good ARG going. Yeah, cool guy. Go watch his
I found
stuff.
the episode.
Anyone else want to plug anything before I stop recording?
No, not really.
No.
Nope.
Y'all should play Parachroma. I played it in this episode, so you should play it too.
I look forward to watching
that. It's literally at the end of the video. So it's like I got bored playing War Commander. I was like, I'm gonna go load up Protochroma. I did a delve. So yeah, with all that said, this will be the end of this. What is this? The 5th episode of the Foxfire Podcast?
Something like that.
Wow. This is the end of the 5th episode. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.